We started the project in 2012, and the purpose was, when we started the project, basically we were touring around the continent, and we realized there was a need for us to start collaborating with the rest of the continent and to see exactly what other projects are happening within the continent. The reason why we approached the Department of Arts and Culture International Relations, we realized that there was a gap and we needed to get the buy-in of our government to be able to tap into the rest of the continent. When we launched the project in 2012, we wanted to showcase basically what is it that we can do as the continent around Africa Day, and also to educate our youth about Africa Day and to also be a part of what is happening around the continent. Our project objectives: firstly, we want to showcase the best of African art, to create a center for the visual arts, to sensitize and mobilize the South African audience and the African market as well about visual arts and the role of visual arts in society, and to also promote a meaningful inter-Africa cultural exchange, skills transfer, which is key, for us, because what we felt is we always talk about showcasing the finest contemporary African art, but we forget to actually transfer the skills to amateur artists and developing artists as well. We also want to position the visual arts as an important contributor to the economy, and also stimulating regional inter-Africa trade and investment. We want to showcase that the visual arts has an important role to play in the creative economy. The project vision is we will be touring all 5 regions of the continent. The SADC is the focus for this for the next 5 years, and we will be going to all the other 5 regions of the continent. When we launched the project, we launched it at the Senton Art Gallery in 2012, and Andile Magengelele and Eurydice Kala, Nontobagentombela, were the curators of our exhibition. Made in Africa towards cultural liberation. Why the theme Made in Africa towards cultural liberation? We felt there was a need for ownership of who we are. We always consume products from other countries and buy products from other countries without really having ownership of who we really are. And Made in Africa towards cultural liberation was a concept that we felt strongly about, especially when we started the project, because we felt through ownership of of products that we are producing in the continent, we need to be proud of who we are, and we need to be able to promote our products. Countries that exhibited in 2012 was Angola, Botswana, DRC, Malawi, Mauritius, Mozambique, Madagascar, Namibia, Seychelles, South Africa, Swaziland, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. This year's theme was cultural brokerage cultural brokerage Africa Imagined. Eurydice Kala is going to talk you through the curatorial narrative of this year's exhibition.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Eurydice Kala, and I co-curated this exhibition this year with Melissa Goba. And when we started thinking around the curatorial process, we wanted to kind of create a continuity from the previous year, and with Andile and Nonto looking at creating cultural products within the continent and the SADC region specifically. We wanted to kind of create a narrative that could navigate from the product to actually commercializing it. And we kind of wanted to establish that we're looking at the curator as kind of a translator, even a third kind of leg within this conversation between the art world and the audience. So the curator was actually our main focus. We looked at the curator as a cultural broker, as a broker in any type of environment, commercial, financial environment. And when I was invited by Melissa and Tepi to come around the project, I came in as kind of an international thinking, because I'm from Mozambique, and I was brought into the project to kind of bring in kind of a different flair, not only a localized thinking around curatorial process, but bring a different flair. And we decided to look at the text that I forgot his name, Sylvester Oguchibi wrote, kind of criticizing Okwenwenza in looking at how the curator should have or occupy a position of a kind of a broker or translator from kind of from the art world to the audience. So in trying to establish kind of a creative currency and bring in the notion of creative currency, visual art specifically, into this project, we focused on harnessing works that would talk about that. But in a sense, it became a little bit complicated and problematic, because we operate in a space that is not necessarily kind of a free and permeable environment to move along from product creation to product kind of commercialization. So we got into grasp with all the kind of social nuances that exist within the African context, identity, race, time, future, and is kind of trying to establish all of these factors and put them together. And in a sense, yes, we looked at the curator, but we also had to stop and in trying to develop and talk to audiences. We found ourselves in a kind of I don't know how to express this, but in a kind of a nimble or liminal space where you want to move on and establish this conversation with the audience, but the audience is not necessarily prepared to talk about many aspects that exist within the art world. So it was an interesting year, to say the least. We worked and we worked with trying to think about audience development, how to talk to the audience, who are this, who are we targeting, and I mean, we are in the space at the art fair, who is the audience, who is actually buying the artworks, and many types of currencies that artworks have, not necessarily kind of an economic or monetary value, but kind of a social factor, social factor that can come to help, I don't know, mediate conversations. So art doesn't necessarily exist for the buying and selling, but there are other ways of creating economy and creating value within the ecology of the art world. So those were kind of the main topics that we discussed, and between the art dialogues with the artist, dialogues with the roundtable discussion that we had, it was mainly around the idea of the commercialization and creating currency within the visual arts, within the art world. So that was the curatorial narrative, and for this year, for 2013. I guess. Thank you.
Well, as you already said, the focus this year really, it was about engaging the countries in the SADC region. And it was quite interesting dealing with and engaging directly with the cultural ministries of the SADC region, and also working together with government, because the whole idea of us doing this project was to collaborate with government, business, and artists, and also engaging with cultural ministries around the continent. And last year when we started the project, we sourced most of the artists from South Africa who were based in the SADC region. And this year we said to the Department of Arts and Culture, we need to now start engaging with those countries directly, because we don't want to be seen as the big brother of the continent. This is how it is. We are perceived by the rest of the continent, and the whole the reason why we started the project was for us to be able to collaborate with the rest of the continent and without us being seen as the big brother. But it had challenges to actually deal with government and also with the selection of artwork. When we started, the brief was actually sent to the cultural ministries of the SADC region, and they sort of dictated what type of artwork they should bring, which didn't really fit into the curatorial narrative, but we had to sort of work together with them. And post the opening of the exhibition, we had an artist discussion where we wanted to engage on a one-on-one with artists from the 13 countries that were involved. And it was quite interesting, the outcomes of our artist discussion, which led to the other programming of the rest of the exhibition. And these were the artists who participated, and this is the type of artwork that they exhibited at this year's exhibition. Okay, you already touched earlier on the issue of space, and as when we launched the project, we were at the Centre Art Gallery, and this year when we were at the Pretoria Art Museum, it was actually quite interesting to look at the different type of audiences that we have in being in Johannesburg, and yet we're trying to increase this audience. It's just two different markets that we were targeting. So when we had our artist discussion on the 25th of May, these were some of the issues that were discussed by artists who participated. The selection of artwork and the criteria that is used by the Department of Arts and Culture, the challenges of dealing with the SADC member states, the stakeholder involvement and creating networks around the continent, the transportation of artworks, marketing and sponsorship of the project, audience development, which was key, skills development, and the sustainability of the project. As we said earlier, one of our objectives is really to educate our audience, and what we did with this year's exhibition, we tried to educate most of the volunteers who were involved from the Pretoria Art Museum, and Melissa Goba, being the senior curator of this year's exhibition, she did the walkabout and the training for volunteers at the Pretoria Art Museum. And what we also did during the exhibition, because what we want to do is also to educate the youth about Africa Day and what is happening around the continent. We also did a schools walkabout and a community walkabout.
I think it was just a kind of a weekend with a couple of children from the community. They are mostly Congolese children who kind of came here in a very kind of challenging from a challenging background, and we had a kind of a nice discussion between myself and them looking at the artworks, and because of their backgrounds, kind of awakening some traumatic events within, I don't know, that space. It was a very difficult morning for me, because the children, as much as you want to believe that children want to see happy pictures, whenever they talked about the work, especially the way that they responded to Kutsanai's work, and being Congolese children coming from a war-torn country, they quite related to those pictures, those images. So that was interesting for me to kind of to see, to experience, and I don't know what to say about that. If it was a kind of a productive space for them, or even negative, but I think, I don't know, that morning was really, it was special, and it was a difficult morning, and just to show how audiences respond differently according to their backgrounds to visual arts. That was my kind of experience at that point. So I don't know what to go on this. I think.
Okay. So part of what we do really is to educate and to involve communities around Africa Day, and also to impart skills. So what post the community walkabout, we did the professional artist seminar, where 33 delegates attended our seminar, and the Arts for South Africa was conducting the workshop. Topics which were covered at the workshop basically was taking decisions on how to engage professionally outside your studio, how to establish yourself as a professional artist, defining your strategy related to individual career plan, how to successfully build an artistic profile, the value of networks, marketing yourself marketing yourself and your work, and to realize your objectives. Building a professional ethos in the South African sector, the roles and responsibilities of the gallery or agent and the artist, the value of well-planned PR and marketing, how to engage with with media, the exhibition management, curation, sales and pricing of artworks. So these were all the topics which were covered during the seminar. And at the end of the exhibition, we felt there was a need, as it is our second year running now of conducting this exhibition. There was a need for us to engage with other stakeholders as well, and we shouldn't work in isolation, but be a part of a network. And we had an artist discussion and a roundtable discussion, and the following key stakeholders were invited at our roundtable discussion. The Department of Arts and Culture, obviously being the main sponsor of the project, Department of International Relations, Department of Trade and Industry, Business and Arts South Africa, SADC member states, embassies, Brand South Africa, Pro Helvetia, French Institute, British Council, the Goethe, Crown Relocations, and other arts consultants were also participated in our roundtable discussion. Okay, way forward. Way forward for the project. What we are planning to do, we are going to be conducting another exhibition next year in the SADC region. The focus is going to be around the 20th democracy of South Africa, and we will be inviting strategic countries which contributed to the liberation of where we are. And the countries that we are looking at inviting, apart from the SADC member states, it's Ghana, Senegal, and Nigeria. And I think that's us in a nutshell. I'm not going to take you through our overview and project plan for next year, but basically it's just us saying this is who we are. We've been doing this project for the past 2 years, and we need to collaborate with other key stakeholders who are involved in the industry.